everybody, it's Nadiah at LeArmoire, and this week I'm going to be showing you how hand-spun fiber is made with a drop spindle. One of the most important materials you're going to be needing to spin your own fiber is roving, and I happen to have a lot of it that a friend gave me while I was learning to spin, and I have a bunch of different colors, but I think today I'm going to go with this great pink and purple and blue variegated roving. This particular color was hand-dyed by a friend of mine who's very, very yarn savvy, and it's a beautiful color scheme, and it's going to spin even cooler. So the first step is to separate a nice strand of the roving. It can be kind of thick because obviously there's a process involved, so what you just want to separate a good piece of the roving and end up with a strip of it like this. The next step is taking your roving and just gently pulling it. You want to be really careful not to pull too much or too little. You just want to get all the strands nice and separated, and you want to keep your hands at a good distance from each other so that you're not just tearing the yarn apart. So the end result is a nice strand of even and just well pulled roving. So the next step would be to use the drop spindle. To start my spinning off, I just take the roving and wrap it around the whirl on the spindle just a couple times, and then I wrap it around the hook securely so that there's going to be no slipping while I'm spinning, because that's bad. And I just hold it and I give it a couple twists, as you can see. And oops, I have a little catch there, but I give it a couple twists. And I always have a little bit of raw roving on the end, but that's okay with me. I don't have a problem with that. It's only a couple inches. And once I have a little bit of that spun, like so, I just take it off and wrap the entire thing around this part of the spindle. And sometimes when you're spinning, you want to keep pulling the yarn to make sure it's all even. And now you can pretty much spin comfortably once you have a little bit wrapped around the whirl, and you can control the thickness of the yarn. I'm a beginner, so it's kind of thick and thin. I'm not the best at it yet, but I am definitely working on it, and it's a lot of fun. And it's great to see the colors of the fiber turn into this great shade of hand-spun yarn, because it looks totally different when you see it in the roving, and then when you spin it, all the colors come together so wonderfully. So this is basically the premise of spinning fiber. And you just keep wrapping it around the whirl and giving it a good pull every now and then. This is pretty much what the fiber starts to look like after it's been spun a bit. You can see that it's definitely in a nice strand that can be worked with, and lots of really cool things you can make out of it. This is an example of some hand spun fiber that a very, very talented friend spun for me, and you can see that she plied it, and it's very, very well made, and she hand dyes it with her own dyes, and she's extremely talented, and that's just an example of one of the many avenues you can take with spinning your own fiber. So I'm going to keep working on my spinning because it's obviously a really cool craft, and I'm hoping to get really good at it so I can make my own fiber and maybe put some things in my shop made out of handmade yarn that I made. Thanks for watching and happy spinning!